Welcome to the Business of Tech Lounge, the live version of the Business of Tech podcast. It's Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024, and I'm Dave Sobel. Today on the show, Thoma Bravo combines two of their companies. Microsoft wants to move their staff. Enable and MSP Alliance team up. TD SYNNEX has new resources. SolarWinds and Dell infuse AI into everything. Alcyon's CEO Niraj Talia weighs in on data protection and AI. Plus, two previews as McKinsey Brown has big ideas about vulnerability programs, and a preview of this coming weekend's interview with Synchro's CEO, Michael George. Plus, your questions and comments. I want to thank Sales Builder, our Patreon sponsor, whose support makes this show possible. Focus on your IT sales workflow with the power of automation and visit them at salesbuilder.com. That's BUILDR.com. Want to get your logo here and your shout out? Vendors, you can do so with our vendor Patreon program. It's a simple monthly subscription, and visit patreon.com/MSP radio to sign up. I can't do this show without support, and thanks again to Sales Builder for theirs. Now, we'll be taking questions and comments throughout the show, so make sure to put them in chat. There's a dedicated question section in the show with listener-submitted questions, but we'll take those chat comments anytime. And now, our top story. And today, a collection of stories. Microsoft has reportedly asked its China-based employees to consider relocating to countries like the US, Ireland, and Australia, which could impact China's AI ambitions. The move comes amid increasing competition between the US and China in the field of artificial intelligence. The relocation offers were made to about 700 to 800 employees, mostly engineers working in cloud computing and machine learning operations. While employees have the option to remain in China, Microsoft has reportedly stopped hiring there. The global shortage of top AI engineers and researchers makes the potential loss of Chinese talent a concern for China's AI aspirations. Private equity firm Thoma Bravo has announced the merger of its security information and event management company, Logarithm, with rival cybersecurity Exabeam. The merger is expected to accelerate the development of AI-driven cybersecurity solutions and is set to close in Q3 of 2024. Enable and MSP Alliance have partnered to help managed services providers proactively address cyber compliance requirements through MSP Alliance Cyber Verify program. This program aims to equip MSPs to identify gaps, certify compliance alignment, and offer compliance as a service solutions to their customers. TD SYNNEX has launched MSP Evolve, a program designed to optimize operational excellence and accelerate business growth for managed services providers. The program offers a range of solutions customized for MSP needs, including support, services, solution, and training programs. MSP Evolve features the TD SYNNEX Stream 1 cloud platform, which provides automation, integration, purchasing, management, and billing solutions. The program also includes security services such as the Security Operations Center service and cybersecurity assessments. SolarWinds has launched SolarWinds AI, a generative AI engine designed to transform IT operations and enhance IT service management. The AI-powered feature in SolarWinds Service Desk accelerates ticket resolution, summarizing ticket histories, providing suggested responses, and generating real-time recommended steps. SolarWinds AI prioritizes privacy, security, and trust through its AI by Design framework, which includes principles of privacy, security, accountability and fairness, transparency and trust, and simplicity and accessibility. Dell Technologies has launched the Dell AI Factory, providing customers with access to a wide range of AI solutions and technology partners to meet their unique needs. The AI Factory includes AI PCs, infrastructure for AI workloads, data protection solutions, an expanded networking portfolio, and collaborations with leading ecosystem partners. Dell is also expanding its AI professional services to drive improved business outcomes. And additionally, the Dell AI Factory has expanded with NVIDIA, offering new server, edge, and workstation solutions as well as services to accelerate AI adoption. So, why do we care? So first, disclosure, I'm a shareholder in both Enable and SolarWinds. Now, there's a tale of 3 investments here. I want to look at this from an investment perspective. First, cybersecurity. There's a slowdown in cybersecurity investment, and so consolidation among the vendors is happening. There isn't that much of a cybersecurity product need. While I want providers to integrate cyber into their business, know that doing the basics really well is a sound strategy. There are, in fact, too many products and too many solutions in the cybersecurity space. You don't need all of them. And in fact, the investors themselves see that. That's why they're doing consolidation. And that's our takeaway from those moves. Second, AI. Everyone is throwing AI into their products. Some of it will be useful, and others will be not. Be on the spectrum of activities between we do everything recklessly and we are ignoring this space. There's both an opportunity now in advising solutions, particularly around data management, and there is time to take advantage of this. You don't have to do everything AI, and you don't need to buy into the marketing that is coming from these vendors. But at the same time, you want to be doing the basics of working with customers to make sure their data is ready. Third, basic blocking and tackling are marketing support. The TD SYNNEX announcement, the Enable one, sure, perfectly solid moves. Now ask, within what context are these moves? Are they the only play for that vendor, or is this part of a larger series of investments? That's the trend we're looking for. If it's a one-off and they don't have this as part of a larger strategy, that's a problem. But if it fits in and they're supplementing their other offerings, that's important and a better strategy. Now, I also want to comment on Microsoft's move. Consider that they're trying to de-risk their investment in China. That speaks to the geopolitical scene that we're dealing with right now, and that's a supply chain issue that you as a provider want to think about. In particular, we want to understand what happens as things continue to chill between the US and China in relations. There's going to be a number of second-order effects here, one of which will be staff moving around. So what do you think? Are you encouraged by this kind of move? If you got a question or a comment, put it in the chat if you're watching live. We'd love to hear from you. Now, next up, I want to revisit this past weekend's interview. Alcyon CEO Niraj Tolia joined me and we talked about data protection and AI. Here's a snippet of that interview.
So what does AI bring, though? Because if I remove AI from everything you just said, it's still all internally coherent, right? So what does AI bring that makes it different in this space?
So let's see. It brings 2 or 3 things, right? So it brings let's talk about it first from the end customer perspective, right? What the end customers get a number of great features, including improved security. You can't do ransomware manually, right? You get improved, it's within that you have ransomware detection, malware detection, anomaly detection, right? Someone suddenly doing something strange, deleting files within, moving files out, right? There's a lot of work that goes in there, right? And for today, for example, we have multiple AI models that are continuously learning on every backup what novel behavior is, right? And none of that will be possible in a legacy world with heuristical rules. But I think it is also more important for our partners what AI brings for them to the table. They are getting a material reduction in operational time, right? We've had so many, and this is heartwarming to me, we've had so many partners come up and thank us and say, look, you are literally saving hours of my week that I used to be doing internal break fix on my backup system. Why? Because on our side, what shows up as ease of use to them is AI, because we do better scheduling. Right, in a 1,000-person company, you can never set up a manual schedule per person, right? To back up when they're the most active and when they're modifying the most data. Our system can do it for our customers, right? You don't need to worry about scheduling anymore. You don't need to worry about reliability. We figure out when the best time to do it is, when to retry something, how to auto-remediate some issues, right? So from an ease of use and operational file perspective, so what suddenly goes away, that again, you focus on the thing that really bring value to the business and not the things you need to break fix internally. Right? And I think those are the two big things when we talk about ease of use, when we talk about reduction in pain, when we talk about customer benefit. That is the consistent message we have received from all our partners.
And of course, we have to ask, why do we care? So AI in everything, right? Well, that's the reason. I'm not particularly excited by every company bolting a chatbot onto their product as their only move. And I want to see artificial intelligence and machine learning be used to improve the core product itself. Now, a chatbot might be part of that, but it's not that alone. Niraj makes some arguments in the interview that incumbent players can't do this. Maybe. I don't want to necessarily look at a broad sweeping statement, but my instincts say he's also right. But the flip side of that would be that a larger incumbent player has a lot of data that would be very useful for a machine learning algorithm. So what we're looking for is tangible investments in artificial intelligence and machine learning that improve the product. I want providers to take a critical eye to this because it is very much both a technology and a marketing term. We need to be very dismissive of the marketing term and focus on the specific implementations that matter and that will make a difference. Now, this interview is live on YouTube and on the podcast feed, so if you want to dive more into the topic, I encourage you to focus there. Now, reminder, we do take those questions, and I'm watching that chat. So if you've got comments or concerns, throw it in. What do you think? Is AI showing up in too much stuff? Is it valuable already in products that you've seen? Let us know. Now, I'm taking off on Tuesday from the regular news show, but you'll get an extra interview. Mackenzie Brown, who's VP of Security at Blackpoint Cyber, has some bold thoughts on disclosures. Here's a preview of that interview.
Researchers and security research plays an imperative role in information security. So that being said, we have a lot of issues in cybersecurity, as everyone knows, and I was kind of mentioning this the other day, but I just got back from RSA, and this is where marketing money goes to get set on fire. It's super interesting. But we have an inundation of marketing and tooling and technology specific to security that is overwhelming and, quite frankly, not necessarily useful. We have an increase year to year of attacks, so that's not going anywhere, cyber attacks. And if you don't have, mess up money, essentially, whether it's through cyber insurance or an incident response team, many people struggle and many people go out of business because of cybersecurity threats. And then we struggle finding good talent. So all of these, we're obviously in a world of InfoSec. I'm sure, Dave, you and I could probably talk over a beer for hours about what's broken and how it's not aligning with IT as a whole. But threat intelligence and threat research, or rather information sharing of threat research, is valuable and sometimes not even achievable. Like real threat intelligence is not achievable gaining to what we are being sold in the market. So the whole concept around know thy enemy, if I'm going to slap you in the face with a phone book, but it's like the art of war quotes over and over of knowing thy enemy, this is where researchers play an imperative role. But we have kind of disrupted away the way the InfoSec culture has been, where if we are performing exploit development, proof of concepts, and basically the race to get those POCs out before other security companies, just for pure marketing, we're actually doing more harm than good. And coming from the incident response world, this is where we saw this a lot. Just to put in perspective, we have 23,000 vulnerabilities that were released in 2023, and that's a lot. Now, albeit a lot of those didn't come with exploits, they're not going to be as critical or severe, but a lot of them come with exploit development, which is basically the how do we utilize this vulnerability to do in what manner to perform malicious actions or to be successful as a bad guy in my attack path. But we also have the other side of the house where we're performing this research, which is imperative. It needs to be done. We need to understand how these threats work. We need to understand how to mitigate and remediate against them. But we're releasing that information before a vendor even has time to whether create a patch, communicate the patch, test it, ensure that people are actually implementing it correctly, or creating processes and a workflow that is coordinated.
So we're going to ask, why do we care? And there's two things I want to highlight from this. The first is a casual mention of what she put in there of mess up money. Think about that. A security researcher, a security combat person who's defending is running the anti-hacker programs, focuses on the idea of having ready mess up money. And what's implied in that is both the resources and the plan to handle the incident. I think this is a point that we should delve in further, and I want you to listen in the interview to hear more about the discussions about what's appropriate and what's not. And the second portion that I want you to think about listening to this interview when it comes out is disclosure programs matter to ensure proper communications. And you, as a consumer of most of the software, want to ensure your vendors have a proper program. Now, this is a topic that I've hit up before, and I think you'll appreciate McKinsey's perspective here. This interview is going to release on Tuesday to the public, and my Patreon supporters already have it. Now, we are taking questions, so if you're watching live, make sure to throw them in there, and you can submit them anytime in the chat window. Or submit for next week if you're watching the recording, sending to question@mspradio.com. Now, remember, if you bring your question live, you'll get a live response. I do enjoy taking questions. And of course, if you don't want to do it on live and you want to be anonymous, you can always submit them ahead of time. But Q&A gives you a chance to get involved with the show. Now, it appears today we're a little quiet. So that's good news. Know that you can continue to put those in. And if you're watching this recording, put them in the comments below, and I will make sure to answer all of those questions. Now, additionally, I want to highlight one other upcoming interview with Michael George. Now, Michael George is the former CEO of Continuum, and he's just recently come on as CEO of Synchro, and he and I had the opportunity to catch up. Let's look at a clip from that upcoming interview.
Changed is really two things. The private equity world entered this category back, candidly, when Summit Partners funded Continuum, and then Kaseya, and then Enable, and you know the whole journey, and I think most people do. And if you look at and understand the capital capital markets and the asset classes, private equity has two different cycles, and the first is value creation, and the second is value extraction. When we were with Summit Partners, frankly, they're a growth firm. They're an outstanding firm to be funding these companies because we were on the value creation side of the equation, investing in, being innovative. We started with just this RMM. When we expanded the platform into BDR, we made an acquisition, and then we acquired Carver, and we were the first to really launch. We did a bet the company strategy on security, and we brought security to the market. As you know, when everybody thought in the small to medium business market, it was not there. It was not a small to medium business problem. So we did that. We brought SentinelOne in to the industry, and I mean, look at what it looks like today. I say no more, and it put Continuum in the hyper growth mode that it was in, and that ultimately had it being acquired by ConnectWise. It was 2019. It was an 8-year journey for me, and I loved, every bit of it. It was a really extraordinary thing, and I'm grateful for all the people that were a part of that journey. It was really extraordinary. Because, I stepped out, and then I didn't think I was going to, come back in. But when the companies, the leaders, ended up on the other side, the value extraction side with private equity companies, and we all know what ConnectWise looks like today. Kaseya's amalgamate. It was a full acquisition strategy and an amalgamation of assets that don't really belong together, and then Enable's, crushed under being a publicly traded company in a small cap environment's an impossibility. Nobody's investing in innovation, and they're on the wrong side of that equation. So that's number one. There's a market condition.
I'm going to tease. He goes into number 2 right in the interview. And so you've got lots to look forward to with that upcoming interview. Now, a reminder for listeners, My Patreon supporters already have this video, and you can get all my interview content early as a supporter. Visit patreon.com/MSP Radio and sign up now. You'll get the interview right away. Now, I also want to let you know that I delivered the commencement address for the Computer Science Department at the College of William and Mary this past weekend, where I'm an alum. You may have a young person in your life you want to share some insights with. I reflect on my journey in the tech industry, the value and power of relationships, and offer some insights and advice for the next generation of tech professionals. That commencement address will also release over the holiday weekend, so look for that as well. I want to thank Sales Builder, our Patreon sponsor, whose support makes this show possible. Focus on your IT sales workflow with the power of automation and visit them at salesbuilder.com. That's BUILDR.com. And vendors, you too can get your name mentioned on the live show. It's a simple monthly subscription. Visit patreon.com/MSP Radio for more. And listeners, I appreciate your support, and here are the best ways to do it. Like, share, and follow on your favorite platforms, or support directly on Patreon with our Give What You Want model. You set what you think the content is worth. And if you have a question and are listening to the recording, send it in at question@mspradio.com. We're going to be off next week from the live show and returning the week after for more live news and comments. Thanks for joining me for the Business of Tech Lounge, and I will see you next time.